Hey there, Gain. Uh, this is Sinum, and I'm going to be looking at this first game from you. So it's kind of weird addressing just the single person because you did request this to be unlisted. So it's probably just going to be you seeing this until you feel comfortable with me making these public. So everything looks pretty normal over here. I'm just going to speed this up until something more interesting happens. Your scouting pattern isn't the greatest. You want to get directly across into his base as soon as possible, because this lets you see if any cheese is coming out. If any cheese is coming out, just as fast as you can. Looks like getting a little bit behind on your drone production. Actually, building a lot of them at the same time. And now you should have just about enough to, yeah, there we go. Putting that pull down at a normal time. You're also sending out this drone scout. It seems a little unnecessary, I think. So this overlord should be telling you a lot of information. This drone scout really won't do too much more to supplement that. Especially, well, you are going to want to send out a drone scout on other maps, like, say, Kulas Ravine or Metalopolis or Lost Temple. When you're not sure where your opponent is, or even really long two-player maps. I can't really think of one. But on Blistering Sands, it's very close by air, so you should be able to get a good enough scout with your Overlord, and you should be moving your Overlord just all across his main, making sure that he's putting down a gateway instead of a forge and stuff like that. So you should be saving up larva when in time for your pool to pop. You want to get 6lings out as soon as you can. And in general, like, your supply blocked here because you were really droning up hard. You got this extractor a little bit early, but you've been droning up pretty hard, and you're not expanding. So that's it's not too strange. Usually you see a fast expansion from higher level players, but if you're just uncomfortable with doing it now, that's fine. You don't really, it's not completely necessary at this point. You're getting that queen, but again, it's a little bit late. In general, you want to be saving a larva so you can get out all your lings, 3 groups, so yeah, 3 larva worth of lings. And ooh, this is unnecessary, very unnecessary. You do not need 2 spine crawlers. You have a decent view of his base. I think that Overlord's still alive. You do see that core only going down now, so you should be moving around with this. Let's check out your vision. You did get a drone here. I'm not sure if you know if there are zealots there, though. Well, you probably lost it to some zealots. Oh, yeah, there was a pylon there, and you scattered out with this overlord, so you took that down. Good job there. But these spine crawlers, again, very unnecessary, especially in this position. So you're pretty well defended here. Not necessarily defended, but you're in a very closed position. So if you had taken your expansion earlier on, yes, I would definitely recommend a spine crawler or 2 at your expansion, or even here near your ramp. But it seems very unnecessary at this point. You should be using this overlord to make sure you see what exactly he has. And you did see the cyber core going down, so you might want to get this out of here right now. And you're setting in some more lings to try and push this, but you should really back off. So once you saw that there was a cannon there, you should have backed off. And this block also completely negates your 4 lings. If you had a lot more lings and there was just the cannon as in no block here, then yeah, you could have ran by and then done a lot of economic damage to that probe line. But not so much when there's a zealot block. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to do any damage with those zealots there. You did get that lair up pretty quickly. Well, not too quickly, but pretty normally. Keeping that energy on your queen low, that's good. You even saved this overlord. And going for that spire. Okay, so spire off of 1 base is enormously difficult to pull off, and this burrow is completely unnecessary. You really do not need it unless you are going a roach build, or I guess if you have a heavy investment into infestors. But you really do not need this burrow at all. All you have right now are lings, so, well, and the queen, but you're not going to be using these lings for, I mean, you can use them for a little bit of scouting, but they're not much more effective with that burrow. Not at this stage of the game, especially not on this map when air is going to be the name of the game. So this burrow is completely unnecessary. You should, it's just not very good to upgrade in general. There are some cases where you want to get that burrow, but that's precious gas because you're only on one base worth of gas, so you're going to want to get out as many mutas as possible. So you're going to want, oh, by the way, you should be saving up larva as well for when the spire pops so you can get out as many mutas as possible. One muta is not going to do anything. Even 3 or 4 mutas aren't that good. You're going to need a bigger group, 5 or 6 mutas, and you're going to take this expansion pretty late. One thing just something else to mention, you have a lot of lings back at home. You do have this one ling out here for scouting, but why not just move a few more lings across the map? Make sure that he's not taking this expansion, or if he did, then you could at least make him stretch a little bit thinner. Oh, I'm sorry about that. But moving these lings out would give you nice map control, would have allowed you to take this expansion a lot earlier, maybe even get another one up here, or even, that's probably it for now. They do have speed as well, that's fine. And getting drop, very, very unnecessary. So, yeah, your overlords don't have... Oh, wait, is that speed? Yeah, that's speed. Okay, so speed is actually just as unnecessary. Drop would... I'd rather see a slow drop than fast overlords. Just not very good in this situation. That's a lot of gas that you're spending that could be used on mutas, and you only have 4 right now. You use this 5th one to do some scouting. I remember that. I did watch this replay a little bit earlier. Getting Evo chamber. You don't have the gas to support any upgrades. You should be using all that on muta right now. Not keeping up with your larva production, but that's okay. And going for these Stargates, it's okay. I mean, he is pretty heavily invested in these guys. I think I'd rather see you going for the probe line. And now these Void Rays are pretty much wrecking you. You do have a few more mutas, but you're still muta light. Let's look at your units. Yeah, just 6 mutas, and the Spire's been up for a while now. And again, this expansion goes up, but the first thing you should be doing is getting these gases. So, particularly on muta and Hydra-based builds, you want to definitely get those gases as much as possible. You did bring those mutas back, but they did cross this, I think there were some stalkers here as well, yeah. And this cannon got a few free shots, so those mutas will be a lot weaker than they normally would be. You're actually going to lose them because you're not really paying attention with this queen. You could be using the queen to transfuse and also help out doing some damage to that Void Ray. And again, these lings being pretty useless. You don't really need these lings. You could be just... and then, let's see, you don't really need the lings because there's not much of an army from your opponent, which you should have been able to get a decent idea of because you saw those 2 Stargates, although you did get a lot of these lings before. But these lings should be used, I mean, even if you did get them, okay, there's nothing you can do about that anymore, but you should be using them to maybe run around the map, make sure that you have some sort of map control. Looks like this Void Ray will die eventually. But again, you're so muta-light, just 3 mutas, and you did lose both gases, so... But you probably wouldn't have lost more gases if you had maybe double the muta count, maybe even a little bit more than double the muta count. If you had gotten up this base earlier, gotten up those gases, which you still haven't taken, if you had not gone for those upgrades that are pretty unnecessary, and then, again, sending out those links to do some damage here, that's a good idea. But these Voiders are just going to pretty much end you, I think. And look at this mineral count. It's pretty high. You didn't resaturate this gas either, but that's excusable, I think, at this point. Yeah, just a single muta left. You have 2 queens left to deal with 3 Void Rays. No way you're going to win. But... so, let's see. Those are the things that you really need to work on, I guess. First off, ignoring the upgrades that you're not 100% you need. Especially at this point when it's like, Burrow? Have you even used Burrow at all? I don't think so. So it's really unnecessary. And again, this block. pretty solid. Not gonna get through here. Even sending in more lings because you have so much money in the bank. But those lings, okay, if you feel like you need them, that's fine. Oh, by the way, these spine crawlers, I want to mention that again. These spine crawlers, very unnecessary unless you scout something early coming. So getting up those early lings, that's okay if you feel uncomfortable. If you think that there's something coming, if you're really worried about an early push, okay, then you can get out those lings. But what you want to do is don't just leave them idle inside your base. Move them around the map. Scout out these golds. Scout out the natural. Scout out his front. Make sure that he's not moving out with something too big. Alright, there you go, leaving the game. And again, there were some supply issues where you just didn't have an overlord out when you really, or didn't have another overlord out when you really wanted it, so you forced to spend a little bit of time on that production. So that's also something to think about. You've been pretty solid on your queen energy use. It's been good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect at the level that you're at. I don't think that bronze is super competitive, but it's been pretty decent for the most part. You haven't really been creeping up much. In general, you don't have to do this. You don't have to put a lot of focus into this, but you want your main and natural connected by creep. Everything more than that, all the creeping more than that is really kind of, it's not really optional, but it's very, it kind of is. So it's not necessary. It's good if you have it, but it's not really an enormous gain. So just to recap, don't get up those unnecessary upgrades. Burrow in general you do not want unless you are going for a roach heavy build or you're very dedicated to infestors. You want to save up larva when your important buildings come up, your spawning pool, your spire, your hydra den, your, well, not necessarily the roach one. They come up pretty quick and you should have a decent economy by then. You got this expansion pretty late. When you had those lings out, you should have been keeping up map production outside of his base, so you could see that it was safe to expand. And taking this expansion early, you want to take these gases first. The gases are the most important thing for every single race. So, I mean, especially when you're going mutas or hydras, they take up a lot of gas. And I think that's just about it. If you had gotten up this base earlier, if you had saved up larva when the spire was about to pop, if you had gotten up these gases and saturated them fully, and also these two, I think you didn't have this one saturated for a little bit, but that's not too bad. But if you had done all those things and not gotten that burrow, not gotten that overlord speed, you would have been popping out with maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 mutalisks instead of the 4 or 5 that you ended up with. And those 10 or 12 could have easily taken all of this out. Could have taken down this pylon, could have taken down this one as well. So only one gateway would have been powered. You could have ravaged, absolutely destroyed this probe line. This cannon wouldn't have been able to do anything. Even if you could have easily just taken this out if you wanted to. And these stalkers, he just wouldn't have been able to produce them fast enough. So yeah, that's just about it for this game. I'm going to go on to the next game now. I hope you found this helpful. So I'll see you at the next game.